I think there's this illusion that because we live in such a beautiful place, that mental illness isn't as common here as it might be in other places.
A mental health crisis can hit almost anyone at any time, no matter where they live, even when they have no history of mental illness at all. It is incredibly clear that all of the risk factors that all of the bigger cities have is also here in San Luis Obispo County.
SLO County suicide rates are actually much higher than the national average, especially post-COVID. We are seeing just an influx of mental health disorders. Every call is different. Sometimes a caller calls in with the intention of wanting to get in contact with new resources, and sometimes callers truly just want to talk and have someone to listen.
That's what Hotline is really good for. We are a listening ear. We are not therapists. We're not, professional counselors, but we're here to listen.
When you take someone from a very high escalated, emotionally vulnerable state and getting them to realize that they're not alone and feel like they can go on with their day.
Many of our calls, people just need support and encouragement to continue on their own path.
We've been noticing an uptick in not only the youth that are calling from nurses' offices, the principal's office. They're making these phone calls where they weren't before. And it's my feeling that we are now really beginning to see the effects of isolation from COVID.
Depression, anxiety, peer pressure, all these things kind of culminate into just having a lot to deal with at a younger age, and social media kind of makes these feelings and expands them. And if they don't have a good support system around them, it's going to lead to poor mental health.
We have a whole elderly population that are very lonely, and they don't have anybody to talk to. They feel like they're a burden to their families.
A lot of the calls come from parents of young children, of teens.
I can so relate to these callers because they're asking, what can I do for my son, for my daughter, for my husband, for my loved one?
So many people, no matter your age, sex, gender identity.
The hotline is an opportunity for groups of people who are underrepresented to call in, and we're ready for them. We're ready to listen, and we're ready to reaffirm that they're not alone in this.
So texting is a brand new feature that is going to be offered for the first time in the history of the Central Coast Hotline.
This 24/7 texting is going to be instrumental in the deaf and hard of hearing community.
When it comes to getting our middle schoolers and high schoolers to reach out, it's going to be life-changing.
The 10 to 14-year-olds are the fastest growing group who are attempting suicide, thinking about suicide, completing suicide, and we're not getting those calls. And so it's really, really vitally important to enable them in a way that's most comfortable for them to reach out to us, and texting is the way.
It also makes it easier for people who may be in a crowded situation, or a situation where they don't have privacy.
In any kind of violent situation where people don't want to call,
This now allows them the space to do that in a setting that might be less dangerous for them.
so the system that we were coming from really was very antiquated, and the new system is truly cutting edge and is something that will help us to grow over time and gives us capabilities that we've never had before.
I'm already seeing our crisis line specialists get excited about the new capabilities the system has, because we now have new ways that we can be more effective call handlers. We now have the opportunity to work from home, to work remotely. This new system allows people to do that just in a smoother way. We can ensure that everything is live, everything's working, and calls are going through to who they need to be going through to.
We can use redacted call recordings in our trainings to really provide quality assurance, and it really helps our crisis line specialists to be able to learn more about handling different kinds of calls.
It allows us to hop on the system real time, listen into calls, and assist our volunteers while they're on the line. When we get an incoming call from a Spanish speaker or any language of that matter, we are able to conference call that person in with the language line, request the language that is being spoken, and we communicate through an interpreter.
When we began the process of upgrading Central Coast Hotline, I immediately thought of Charities. this influx of funds from MUS is going to completely change the way Hotline is run on a daily basis, the way we can answer calls in a seamless fashion. It really does change everything.
MUS Charities has committed more than $500,000 to expand and modernize the Central Coast Hotline. If you would like to help provide important mental health services to the people of our county, go to muscharities.org. 100% of your donations go directly to the projects we support.